That night started like any other. I was alone in my apartment, the lights low, the city quiet outside my window. I had finished dinner, washed the dishes, and collapsed on the couch with my phone in my hand. I wasn't waiting for anything. No plans, no conversations, no expectations. I was scrolling without thinking when my phone vibrated. One short buzz. A new message. I almost ignored it. The screen lit up with a name I didn't recognize. No picture. Just a number. For a second, I wondered if it was spam. But then I read the message. I can't stop thinking about yesterday. I stared at the words longer than I should have. They felt personal. Heavy. Like I had walked into the middle of a conversation that didn't belong to me. I read it again. Slowly. Yesterday. Thinking. Can't stop. My first reaction was confusion. My second was curiosity. Who was this person? And who were they trying to reach? I checked the number one more time, hoping I would recognize it. I didn't. It wasn't saved. It wasn't familiar. The message clearly wasn't meant for me. I placed the phone face down on the couch and leaned back, telling myself to forget it. It was a simple mistake. A wrong message. It happens all the time. But after a few seconds, I picked the phone up again. The words were still there, waiting. Quiet, unanswered. I thought about how strange it was. One sentence. One small mistake. And suddenly, I knew something about a stranger's feelings. I didn't know it yet, but that message was the beginning of something. Something I never planned. Something I never expected. It arrived quietly, without warning, and settled into my night, refusing to leave my thoughts alone for a while. I told myself to put the phone down and move on with my night. I even locked the screen and tossed it onto the coffee table. Problem solved. Except it wasn't. My eyes kept drifting back to it, like the message was still glowing through the screen. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, poured a glass of water, and tried to focus on something else. The sound of traffic outside. The hum of the refrigerator. Anything but that sentence. I can't stop thinking about yesterday. What kind of yesterday makes someone send a message like that? I shook my head. It wasn't my business. I was a stranger. This wasn't a movie or a storybook. It was real life, and real life had boundaries. Still, I picked up the phone again. I opened the message and started typing. Sorry, I think you have the wrong number. I read it twice. Simple. Polite. Safe. Then I erased it. What if they were embarrassed? What if they were already having a bad day? I imagined the other person staring at their phone, waiting for a reply that would never come. I typed again. Hi. I don't think this message was meant for me. Delete. I sighed, suddenly aware of how much I was overthinking something so small. It was just a message. A mistake. Nothing more. My thumb hovered over the keyboard as I tried one last time. Hi. I think you sent this message to the wrong person. I paused. My heart beat a little faster than it should have. Why did this feel important? I looked at the time. Late, but not too late. I took a breath and reminded myself that kindness didn't require courage. Just action. Before I could change my mind again, I pressed send. The message disappeared, replaced by a small word underneath it. Delivered. I placed the phone on the table and leaned back, telling myself that was the end of it. I had done the right thing. Clear. Polite. Finished. That's what I thought. I didn't expect a reply. Not right away, at least. I told myself I had closed the door on the situation, and that whatever happened next was out of my control. I turned on the TV, more for noise than interest, and tried to focus on the moving images in front of me. A few minutes passed. Then my phone buzzed again. I froze. Slowly I reached for it, my stomach tightening for no clear reason. A new message. Same number. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I let out a small breath I didn't realize I was holding. Relief came first. Then something like amusement. It's okay, I typed. No problem at all. I hesitated, then added another line. These things happen. I sent it before I could rethink it. This time, my heart didn't race as much. The situation felt lighter now, less mysterious. Almost immediately, 3 little dots appeared on the screen. Thank you for being so nice, the message came back. I was really embarrassed. I smiled at that. Embarrassment was familiar. Human. It made the stranger on the other side feel real. No worries, I replied. I hope your night gets better. There was a short pause, just long enough for me to wonder if the conversation was ending right there. Then another message appeared. Since I already bothered you, how was your day? I stared at the question. It was simple. Casual. The kind of question people ask without thinking too much about it. I could stop now, I thought. I could politely close the conversation and never think about it again. Instead, I answered. It was okay, I wrote. Quiet. How about yours? As soon as I sent it, I leaned back on the couch and laughed softly to myself. A few minutes ago, this person didn't exist in my world at all. Now we were exchanging words, sharing pieces of an ordinary day. I didn't know their name. I didn't know their face. But somehow, the silence between two strangers had already been broken, and it felt natural. The conversation didn't stop there. It flowed in short messages, simple questions, easy answers. Nothing deep. Nothing complicated. Just the kind of small talk people usually make without noticing. They told me their day had been long. Meetings that could have been emails. Coffee that got cold before they could drink it. I replied with a few details of my own work, the quiet apartment, the feeling of being tired without a clear reason. Minutes turned into an hour without me realizing it. At some point, I noticed I was smiling at my phone. That surprised me. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I wasn't choosing my words carefully. I was just being normal. What do you do? They asked. I answered. Then I asked the same question back. Their job sounded different from mine, but not unfamiliar. We complained a little, laughed a little, agreed that some days feel heavier than others for no obvious reason. The messages became longer. Not paragraphs, just fuller thoughts. Complete sentences instead of quick replies. I found myself waiting for the next vibration. When a few minutes passed without a response, I checked the screen more than once. That surprised me too. At one point, they wrote, I didn't expect this conversation tonight. I stared at that line for a moment before replying. Me neither, I typed. But I'm glad it happened. There was a pause after that. A longer one. Long enough to make me wonder if I had said too much. Then the reply came. Me too. I leaned back against the couch, phone resting on my chest. The room felt different now, less quiet than before. Not louder, just warmer. I didn't know where this was going. I didn't even know why it mattered. But something had shifted. What started as a wrong message was slowly turning into a familiar presence on the other side of the screen. And without deciding it out loud, I stayed. The next day, I woke up thinking about the conversation before I even checked my phone. That felt strange. Usually, my mornings were quiet and automatic. Shower, coffee, work. No space for strangers. But this stranger had already found a place in my thoughts. There was a message waiting. Good morning. I hope today is better than yesterday. I smiled and replied while the coffee was still brewing. Good morning. I hope so too. After that, talking became part of the day. Short messages in the morning, longer ones at night. We didn't plan it, and we didn't talk all the time, but there was a rhythm. A natural back and forth that didn't feel forced. We started sharing small personal details. Favorite music. Movies we had watched too many times. Simple things, but they added shape to the person behind the screen. They told me they liked rainy days because they made everything feel slower. I told them I preferred sunny mornings when the city looked less tired. They said they were bad at cooking. I admitted I often burned toast. One night they asked, "Do you ever feel lonely, even when everything is fine?" I didn't answer right away. Then I wrote, "Yes, more often than I'd like to admit." The reply came quickly. "Me too." That moment changed something. The conversation wasn't just light anymore. It wasn't just filling time. It was honest. Comfortable. I realized I was starting to imagine their voice, their expressions, the way they might pause before typing certain words, just like I did. We still didn't know each other's names. That felt intentional now, like a quiet agreement. The space between us was part of what made it easy. I put my phone down that night with a calm feeling in my chest. Not excitement, not expectation, just the sense that, somewhere out there, a stranger felt a little less distant than before. The silence started without warning. One day, there was no good morning message. No short comment during lunch. No reply at night. At first, I didn't think much of it. People get busy. Life happens. Still, I checked my phone more often than usual. Hours passed. Then a full day. I told myself not to read into it, but the quiet felt different now. It wasn't empty. It was heavy. The kind of silence that makes you aware of its presence. I caught myself wondering if I had said something wrong. I reread the last messages, looking for hidden meaning that probably wasn't there. Everything seemed normal. Friendly. Honest. That made the silence harder to understand. On the second day, I almost sent a message. "Hey, everything okay?" I typed it. I stared at it. Then I erased it. I didn't want to seem desperate or intrusive, or foolish for caring more than I should about someone I had never met. But the truth was simple. I missed the conversation. I missed the ease of it. The way talking to a stranger had felt safer than talking to people who already knew me. That night, I left my phone on the table and tried to distract myself. I cleaned the apartment. I watched half a movie. I checked the clock more times than necessary. Just before midnight, my phone vibrated. My heart jumped. "I'm sorry," the message said. I disappeared. I sat down slowly, reading the next line. I needed some time. Things got a little overwhelming. I didn't hesitate this time. "That's okay," I wrote. "I'm glad you're back." There was a pause. Then one more message appeared. "Can I tell you why I sent that first message?" I looked at the screen, feeling the quiet shift again this time, not with absence, but with anticipation. "Of course," I replied. And I waited. The reply didn't come immediately. This time, the pause felt different. Not empty, not uncomfortable, just careful. Like they were choosing the right words. "I sent that message because I was scared," they finally wrote. I stayed still, phone in my hands, giving the words space. Yesterday was the day I almost said something important to someone. And didn't. I read the message twice. They explained slowly, one piece at a time. There was someone in their life. Not a stranger. Not a lover either. Just someone who mattered more than they were ready to admit. They had spent an entire afternoon together, talking about small things, laughing in easy ways. And at the end of the day, there had been a moment, a pause, a chance. "I wanted to say how I felt," they wrote. But I didn't. Instead, they went home with the words still inside them. heavy and restless. Later that night, they typed the message. Not to confess, not to fix anything, just to release the feeling. And I sent it to the wrong number, they added. I let out a quiet breath. Suddenly, that first message made sense. The weight, the unfinished thought. That sounds really hard, I replied, holding something like that inside. Yeah, they wrote back. I felt stupid. And then, when you answered kindly, it helped more than I expected. I leaned back against the couch, eyes on the ceiling. It was strange how honesty traveled so easily between two people who had never met. I didn't plan to talk to you this much, they continued. But our conversations made me feel less alone while I figured things out. I thought about that for a moment before responding. I'm glad I could be here, I typed. Even by accident. There was a small pause. I don't regret sending that message anymore, they wrote. Even if it was a mistake. I looked at the screen, a soft smile forming. Some mistakes didn't need fixing. Some just needed understanding. And as I set my phone down for the night, I realized something quietly important had shifted. The story of that wrong message was no longer about confusion or embarrassment. It was about timing and honesty, and what happens when two strangers listen. The next morning felt lighter than the ones before it. Nothing in my routine had changed, but something in my mood had. I caught myself humming while getting dressed, moving through the day with a quiet sense of ease. There was a message waiting when I checked my phone. I slept better last night, they wrote. I think saying it out loud helped. I smiled and typed back. I'm glad. Sometimes sharing the weight makes it smaller. Our conversations shifted after that. Not in a dramatic way, just gently. There was less hesitation, more openness. We talked about fears we didn't usually name, and choices we kept delaying. Not every message was serious, but even the light ones felt more real now. That afternoon, something small happened at work. A meeting was cancelled at the last minute, giving me an unexpected break. Normally, I would have scrolled mindlessly through my phone, waiting for time to pass. Instead, I sent a message. Guess what? I just got 33 minutes. The reply came quickly. Lucky you. How are you going to use them? I thought about it. I'm going for a walk, I wrote. The weather is nice. As I stepped outside, I realized how strange that was. A conversation that started by accident was now shaping my choices, even in small ways. It wasn't control. It was awareness. Later that evening, they told me they had finally sent a message to the person they had been afraid to face. Not a confession, just a simple check-in. A first step. I don't know what will happen, they wrote, but I feel proud of myself. You should, I replied. That took courage. There was a pause, then a message that stayed with me. Talking to you helped me see things clearly. Even one message can change a day. I stared at the words, feeling their truth settle in. It wasn't about romance or destiny. It was about connection. About how a single, unexpected moment could create space for growth. That night, as I placed my phone on the table, I understood something clearly for the first time. Some messages arrive by mistake, but what we do with them is always a choice.